Welcome to the Queensland Racing Preview. I'm your host, Scooty Pippin, and we've got MJ up in Toowoomba. He's still got the beanie on from the Stratosphere. Chilly still up there, mate.
Yeah, look, the weather's not too bad, but it's just chilly enough in the office this morning. Just trying to do my best to stay warm and find a winner.
Speaking of staying warm, it looks like Queensland Racing has decided to publish bicarbs all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Bicarb reading, pre-race swabs.
How good. So pre-race swabs where the TCO2 reading is above 35.0, is it millimole? Whatever it is, 35.0. So anything above 35 will be published on the Curic website. So whatever that means. We've had one.
Was there any announcement? Was there any commentary around why, or is it just a?
This is off the back of Robert Heathcote and his army of trainers that called everyone a cheat, apart from themselves, basically. Talking about the bicarb, the tubing horses was rampant. So part of the knee-jerk reaction to that from Curic was to publish TCO2 readings above 35. Which surprisingly enough, so this is what I enjoy this. I find the humour in this. Alligator blood's positive and subsequent B sample, and the hearing has taken, what are we into July now? That was back in January.
Yeah, Magic Means is off and run in January.
And it is. It's only ever a vague recollection of memories for me, the Millions Carnival. And obviously we heard about John O'Shea's positive swab that he received 12 months ago when his horse won the Queensland Oaks. The date of the first sample was taken on the 28th of June and was published on the 1st of July. So what is that, a 3-day turnaround?
Yeah, a couple of days. Yeah,
a couple of day turnaround to publish a TCO2 reading above 35. So, it takes us 6 months to get a B sample and an A sample positive spoken about. Yet the TCO2 test results were 3 days from testing to being published. Nico Smile was the horse, and Jan Aikenhead was the trainer. You may never heard of Jan Aikenhead, probably because she's trained 3 winners in her life. With a small team, she doesn't have a lot of runners, so she's not going to train a lot of winners, in fairness to Jan. But, she was the lucky/unlucky participant to have her name the first published. So that horse is still a maidener. It ran third on the day. I doubt there's anything untoward going on there. But anyway, They're published.
All right, looking at the racing this week, we're back at Eagle Farm. It's a +8 rail. Might favour on pace horses there or on fence, and then one off the fence is probably the best place to be in run. Looks like it's going to be a good 4. Beautiful weather up in Queensland. It's a shame us Victorians can't cross the border, but that's another story altogether. Not sure where Mick Goody is. That's still a big mystery for us. But let's kick off race 1 at Eagle Farm. We might bookend the card looking at the quality of the racing up here. It feels like some of those horses are just, they'll be getting dizzy. They've been going around that many times. And, we've got the Sunshine Coast meeting next week, and that's the final curtain. But, this is a pretty average meeting on Eagle Farm, but we'll do our best to pick the card apart. Garibaldi opens up favourite around the $2.60 quote, best price. $5 for For My Annie last start at the Gold Coast was impressive. Broken Arrows around the $4.60 quote. Invictus Prince, the Sydney side, $5. All Shiraz $9. Sanction $31, probably a knockout chance. Fresh there, and bigger odds the rest. First thoughts here, Curls, was Garibaldi very, very short. This 260, I couldn't touch it myself.
Geez, I don't know about this horse. He has. Okay, you go through his most recent runs. He ran second to Nidorp, whatever you pronounce it. That's a good form line. Second to the Odyssey, nice horse, good form line. Then it was sort of raced outside of its normal racing pattern when it led the Gold Coast Guineas that day and got beat 2.8 to Hightail, 4 lengths to the Odyssey in the Fred Best. like basically if he was, look, he's a 3-year-old colt. He's a Vinny. Basically, if he had one of those races, he would have been hurtling down Mundul and Connection Road and turning into Ackles Farm and probably standing at stud. But he goes around. He goes around again. I believe he's had he comes here like a month between runs, and I believe he's had a little jump out that was fairly nice. I just don't know. Like, I just think he might be a bit unders. Like, there's a bit of jury out sort of around this horse. I just don't know that he's ever done enough to warrant going around sort of this price. This is not the worst Class 3 race. Like there's some other horses that have got some ability in the race, like you mentioned about Sanction being a potential knockout chance, and Broken Arrows coming up here for Pfeiffer. I just couldn't dive in with any confidence at the early quote. For those playing at home and want to have a look at the last start replay, go have a look at 4 Miami. It was just a horror show, complete horror show. Obviously, this is
missed the kick.
Yeah, missed the kick badly, and it's just a complete horror show. But the horse has got some ability. I'm just not sure whether it's up to these. If he runs to his best on what he's shown, Garibaldi, you think he could be winning, but I'm not sure. I just can't be convinced.
Mininet Kennedy off, Brad Stewart on. That's a mouth-watering jockey switch there.
Huge.
And drawn an okay gate as well. It'll be hard to think that the market won't come for that runner at some stage.
I think so.
And then the Sydney horses, they won't be a pushover. Invictus Prince, although he's a 7-year-old gelding, if there's any chinks in Garibaldi's armour, definitely capable. But starting to think that it's a bit of a nonny, and maybe they've sort of nearly given up on this horse and think, it's an out-of-season horse at best, Garibaldi. But either way, like you'd want to be watching, or you'd want to be betting really, really late, because I think a lot of players will be trying to risk this horse.
Yeah. I think last week we spoke about, the other week we spoke about that horse, his name's escaped me, was the best placed horse in a Class 3 race anywhere. A couple of weeks ago, How Wonderful Life Is.
Yeah, exactly.
This week we get the worst placed horse in Australia in a class anywhere in a Class 3 at Doomben, and that's Tequila Boom. In this same race here, a 54 rater, up against a few of these better prepared, with better form, coming off a nice 4th at Kilcoy. I think it's about 100 to 1. I think you'll be shopping closer to 500s on the fair.
Or even, they've probably just missed a zero when they've cut and pasted the prices. Could be 1,000 to 1. It's a pretty lackluster card. Looking through the rest of the field, the feature race is the last, the 9th. I think Kel's like you've been doing what the Metro Brisbane. You've taken over from me. I'm a little snowed in trying to do end of financial year stuff, and I think you're hitting at about just over 20% for the Metro stuff. In the last 3 months, you're winning at about 18.5%, and you've been doing it feels like you've been doing nearly every day, but you've been doing sort of 3 or 4 or sometimes up to 5 meetings a week. So 18.5% off a 3-month sample, you're definitely heading in the right direction there. And,
we've got a little bit of a kick in the pants the last couple of days of the month in June, which sort of wiped out a bit of good work. But Gatton was a complete horror show for me on the weekend, just gone. But salvaged some respect with a winning set at Doomben, which was handy. But it has been pretty tough because with the COVID calendar, they've basically been racing every second day, so it's been tough to be across it. Now we're back to some kind of normality, with the Metropolitan meeting Saturday, the provincial meeting Saturday afternoon at the Gold Coast, and then Toowoomba Saturday night. So our biggest concern, the biggest concern from a punting perspective right now, is going to be the jockeys and the depth of jockeys and the quality that sort of be riding those provincial meetings on a Saturday. We've had some good success during this COVID period with some nice, some good horses and jockeys and trainers going around at the provincials at the Gold Coast on a Friday arvo for Metro money. Now we sort of condense all those better horses back to the Metropolitan Saturday grade, and as we get out to the provincials on a Saturday night, the jockey ranks are thinning out, and had a few jocks retire or off injured at the moment, which is sort of depletes the ranks even more. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out for this month with the calendar back to some kind of normality.
Well, New South Wales have banned international jockeys unless they want one Group 1, two Group 2s, or three Group 3s. I don't know how they can think up this stuff, and to think that they want less competitive jockey ranks and just leave the Aussie battlers just to fight amongst themselves over the ride to give them more opportunity. It sounds mindless, and I'd love to see some of these international jockeys try their hand up at Queensland. It'd improve the punter confidence and the riding ranks to no end. I think competition in any form of business or life is a really healthy thing, but it's a different world down in New South Wales, and it's led by a couple of pretty. I
read that article in the Sydney. Was it the Sydney Morning Herald wrote that article?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There's some other interesting pieces if you look in that article. Yeah, there's you get online, you get the related articles. Talk about Sydney rules. There's an article there suggesting that there was a leading New South Wales trainer that fronted a steward's inquiry in 2019 that had been swept under the rug for assaulting another licensed person and had a substantial fine, but it was swept under the rug and not spoken about. And the Sydney Morning Herald journalist sort of brought it to light, a couple of days ago. So it's amazing. It's amazingly organised racing jurisdiction, Sydney, and I suppose but they just don't like other jockeys going in their own little patch because it shows them up, because they are the most precious, overrated racing jurisdiction in the world. I love getting on Twitter and seeing the racing participants from Sydney get on Twitter and bag the shit out of football referees and footballers. Yet somebody mentions a bad ride or something about a jockey in Sydney, and they want us to get a boat and paddle down the river of their tears. Like, give me a spell.
Yeah, nothing surprises me about the racing media or just New South Wales alone.
It's just propaganda nowadays.
Yeah, just jockeys sharing water bottles in COVID times, and there should have been a suspension there, and that just gets swept under the rug. So, and just miraculous stories get published and printed. So, yeah, it's beyond belief. Let's get back into the racing. Race 9 at Eagle Farm. It's got a bit of black type. It's on a listed race. We've got Multaja heading up the market at $6. You got Jamie Lady, who was very good last start, $6.50. Jamaican Rain, a horse that always seems to be back from the lambing camp. The lambing, I've said this before, I'd love to play poker against Richard Lambing. I think he'd be very easy to read. $8 into 7 already, and the horse goes like a bomb first up. So just waiting for money there. I think Tegan will suit that horse. $9.50 hold the line. Jaden Tom, $9. Boomtown Lass, $13. I Love You Lucy snuck in there at 11. I've got that around the wrong way. Seems to always start a big price, that horse. Panino, $13. Money horse, that one. In Good Time. That was my sort of swan song in the tipping ranks. 80 to 1. I backed it at last start, and here it comes up $12 in a weaker field, I would have thought. Still might be an okay price there. And then Fiesta's another one of mine, $16. And then River Racer, $18. Better the rest. Girls, can you make any sense of this fillies and mares race over 1,200?
I'm going to start with Jamaican Rain, since you gave it a bit of detail, purely because I remember it come up here 2 years ago and won the Glasshouse Handicap on a wet track with Tegan on it. Off a Mooney Valley.
Skinnies Day?
No, Glasshouse Handicap Day. Sunshine Coast Skinnies Day. Off a Mooney Valley win. Then last year it came up here, ran in the Tats Tiara, and then was a heavily backed favourite 7 days later in the Glasshouse again on a heavy track. It led and capitulated, but it was well back that day with Tegan on. Gets here, obviously it's been a little bit of time between runs, but it similar sort of setup here. I think for this horse, it's comes here off a Group 3 win at Melbourne. We'll have a nice little pipe opener here and then start short a well-backed horse next week in the Glasshouse, I think. Probably happy to let it go around without me this time. The one that you backed last start, and we'll just pump up your tyres a little bit more while we can, I suppose, because not all every day you tip something in 80s. But why can't In Good Time win again? Like Bandipur and Scalapini, Scalapini's ran well again. Horse is in good form. It's like it goes up a little bit in weight, fair enough. It's going to get a similar type of run. I still think double figures is a good price. The other horse that's double figures in a similar sort of setup is Love You Lucy. Done nothing wrong either. It's going to start at double figures at the minute. Pretty open race. You've got your sort of usual sort of suspects. They're going to be on speed here, I think. Boomtown Lass, Jamie Lady, those types of horses, and I think those two are once again right in the market. Multaja, it's got that sort of been getting back a little bit. Has had that little trial since its last run, which is no negative either. A month between runs. It's got to be some hope, I suppose. Brad Stewart on is always a good booking. Know how well he's been riding this carnival. Yeah, there's plenty of angles here. If you're keen enough one, with the right angle, you're going to get a price. Like I said, it's like $6 favourite, isn't it, Miltaja?
Yeah.
Plenty of angles. I think maybe In Good Time could be the one that's overs again here.
Yeah, I couldn't knock anything that did last start for sure. I'm query about Jamaican Rain. It just seems to be two of that horse. It either goes like a scalded cat or it just, it fails to fire a shot. But I'm just a little bit worried with Jamie Lady if it decides to sit up and sort of harass it. There's a little bit of other speed in the race. I thought the other horse that could surprise at really big odds was Persuader.
Yeah.
The Mick Price and Mick Kent yard. It was okay at Moonee Valley last start, and some of the form around horses that it raced again last prep, Tahitian Dancer and Isabella, Scolopini, Vega Days. It'd probably have it in the mix here as well. So, I thought it was probably the knockout runner there, but definitely happy to bet around Multaja and look for some value there. Curls, where are we going to see you operate this weekend?
Well, I'm covering race by race coverage. Will be Gold Coast in the afternoon. Definitely, I'm going to send out, and I'll be doing race by race Toowoomba Saturday night. So if you hadn't won enough by 5 p.m. Saturday, you can always tune in and follow what Toowoomba on Saturday night. I'll be sending out the sheets for Brisbane, so they'll go out at 9 o'clock for Eagle Farm. So they will go out with there'll be some rated prices and some suggested early plays. Will go out with that information, and then an update as we go along. I think one thing that's pretty consistent about Brisbane Metropolitan Racing at Doomben and Eagle Farm is that you do more often than not see patterns emerge throughout the day at both of those tracks. So it's important to keep an eye on those as you're playing during the day and take positions. So that's my jam for the weekend. There's a meeting at Warwick Thursday, Ipswich Friday, which I'll be covering with bets at some stage. They both look like a little snack sample size there. Might have a little snack on a little treat on Thursday and Friday along the way to Saturday. I'm sure we can find one that'll start half the price we back it and cop a bad ride, like we did in June.
Where else but Queensland? Sounds great, mate. All right. So, yeah, movers and black bookers, Warwick, Ipswich. You may even find something at Sunshine Coast. You got the sheets that'll get pushed out, Eagle Farm on the Saturday early, and then you're going to do race Gold Coast and Toowoomba. You sound like a very busy man. Good luck on the weekend. And you want to see more of Curls, head to the mailbag.com.au or at Toowoomba Tips on Twitter for pure entertainment and elite gift work. See you next week, punters.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
See ya.